Okay.
Yeah.
Avinda, you said that you'll share your screen yourself.
Try it.
No, I'm ready. In case you can't. Yeah, I think it's being live streamed now
Yeah.
and we can start. Dr. Pankaj, please take over and we can start.
Yeah, Dr. Bajwa can start.
Just wait. 1 minute only. Yeah, I was enabling disabling the waiting room. Now anybody can log in now.
Yeah.
So I think Dr. Pankaj, you should start. Why you want to give me this thing?
Always honor is
a lot of
secondary.
responsibility. You have to sit down today for the 3 hours. I'm going for 30 minutes
Yeah,
today.
no problem, sir. No
So
problem.
you start the proceeding, please.
Welcome. It was always by National Secretary, sir. Please start, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another chapter of our new episodes where we always discuss the problems of the practitioners. Today is the turn of East Zone, and I very well know the problems there also because I've been staying in that region for a long time, and especially with the culture of the Guwahati and Assam. So my 5.5 years of my golden period went into that place. So problems almost I think 90% are the same, but this is a very good platform to share your views, your intellects, your problems, your grievances, so that IS and National gets somehow a sniff of the things which are happening every part of the country. It's very difficult to gauge what's the real ground reality of the problems. So I think this is a good platform where we can always share our views and our problems, and we can discuss the strategies and can formulate the policies. We already had from the West and South zone. So today is the turn of East zone. I know all the people are bubbling with the energy and all the intellectual things are going to be shared along with the practitioners' real problems. So I think without wasting time, we should start the proceeding. I like Dr. Pankaj Gupta. He's the program head for the Private Practitioner Forum to start the proceedings from here. Dr. Pankaj, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bajwa, sir. Always a pleasure to interact with all the members of all over the country. And this time we have specifically chosen East Zone because I know that the problems there are very different, as Dr. Bajwa, sir, said. And not just the local problems. We suggest we can give some solutions to the problems that are there in every city. And also we can encourage people to start writing notes regularly. I know that in the east there are a lot of city branches which still have not put up their minimum charges, have not started writing regular anesthesia notes. I feel the importance of all this is going to be highlighted in today's discussion. So I welcome all the members from all over the country who have logged in. I know we are a little less right now. I'm sure we will all be more in numbers as the evening goes ahead. I hand over the stage now to Dr. Namrata and Dr. Irene, who are our moderators for the day. Please, madam.
I'll introduce Dr. Irene. She's my co-moderator. She's a consultant anesthesiologist and in sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll just in JJ Memorial Hospital, and she's also doing freelancing in Dibrugarh, Assam. She's a BCLS and ACLS instructor, and her interest lies in the regional anesthesia, onco anesthesia, ICU, and CPR training. Welcome, Irene, and we both will co-moderate this whole session for us. I'll start with the introduction.
अरे मैडम नम्रता का इंट्रोडक्शन कौन देगा?
मेरा इंट्रोडक्शन नहीं चाहिए, सबको पता है.
I think Dr. Namrata does not require any introduction. She is a well-known personality, maintaining so many cases in the ISA, right from the art and literary cultural club, and she is doing a wonderful job. And I will tell you openly that she was one of the jury for this essay contest, which was the results were declared on 5th June. So she did a wonderful work in that part also. So she has a multi-dimensional personality. And Dr. Erinwe, she is from my land, my home state, Assam, the second home state. So it's looking nice. Bhal lagi se ekdam. So Erinba, you can handle from here. So best of luck to both of you to moderate this stage.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank
please,
you.
please go ahead.
So our first speaker will be Dr. Shomik Nandi. He is one of the very busy and well-known practitioners of Kolkata. In addition to the postgraduate degree in anesthesia, is also a postgraduate in diploma in public health and medical law degree from National University of Judicial Sciences in Kolkata. He's a very good debater, and there are other aspects of Shomik which are non-academic and totally very interesting. He is also attached to the Institute of Child Health, Amri Mukundapur, Bhagirathi Neotia and Women's Child Healthcare and Bellevue Clinic. So he is interested in peds and neonatal anesthesia, intervention pain management, labor anesthesia, and medical law and ethics. So now I will hand the mic and the screen to Shomik to continue with further.
Thank you, Namrata ma'am, for such a nice introduction. Very good evening to all my colleagues. We freelancers, I feel we are like lone warriors. We rush from one nursing home to another. At times, under time constraint, we work on compromise setup, compromise in terms of availability of medicine, monitoring, trained assistants, post-op ICU backup. We take care of unprepared patients at times coming with full stomach, having untreated comorbidities. And what for? Most of the time, peanuts. Add to it the burden of a medico-legal case and the
Shomik, are you sharing the screen?
Yeah, I'm sharing. Isn't it showing?
Yeah, it is showing.
Yeah,
fine,
showing,
madam.
showing, showing.
Yeah.
Your stomach is fine. You carry on.
So I feel all freelance practitioners should have some idea about medico-legal issues and how to avoid them. First thing first, if you do not do PAC or just do PAC on table and that is documented like that, you are simply inviting trouble. You have to find time and you have to do your PACs properly at proper time. The best and the easiest way to do it is having your own OPD setup in places where you frequent. Ask your regular surgeons to give you a number to the elective surgery patients so that they can contact you. You can take their relevant history. You can see their reports on WhatsApp. You can even make a WhatsApp video call, which is totally legal. If needed, you can call them to your OPD and do your PACs for elective cases. If you are in the habit of referring your patients to a cardiologist or a physician, mind you, it might be a good practice, but it is not going to save you because the ultimate decision of fitness lies with the anesthetist. Cardiologists can see the patient, but their giving fitness is not going to help you. I mean, it's not going to save you. Next comes another important issue of consent. You should maintain a professional standard of disclosure. Any complication, any risk that involves an incidence ratio of more than 10% needs to be disclosed properly. It needs even the explanation needs to be documented properly, signed properly. It is a very good practice to involve one of the family members as a witness in the consent form. I will give you one example. Here, the patient has signed on 18th, the doctor on 18th, but the witness has signed on 19th. What was the witness witnessing? Here, nobody put any date and time. These kind of consent will immediately be invalidated in the court of law. So will be a consent form like this. I come across this kind of consent form in many of the small, especially the old nursing homes, where they take into consideration medication, investigation, anesthesia, operation, therapy, procedure, everything under the sun as an umbrella consent. This is totally invalid in the court of law. Anesthesia consent has to be specific. It must include risk and the procedure must be explained properly. What you can do is you can take help of this ISA format. This is a very simple one. On the first page, there is a declaration that needs to be filled in by the patient himself or herself, having the added advantage that the patient cannot later claim that I was not asked this. This can help you in insurance cases also. Then the doctor does his PAC. Then everything is explained. And once the patient is convinced, they put their signature, witness signs, the doctor signs. This format is very useful in my day-to-day practice. See, medical records what you put down in medical record, they will speak for you, and what you miss out will speak against you if you are dragged to the court of law. So the need to properly document everything cannot be overemphasized. In most of the nursing home, I find the paperwork, I mean the papers, the formats pretty inadequate. I use my own format. You can use the ISA format. This is legal. You can use if you find the need. What I do is I stick this pre-printed label, patient label and patient sticker, which has got a timestamp on my paper, so that I cannot be told that I have doctored these things at a later date. You can devise your own technique. Some special situation, death on table is a situation we all read. It's a nightmarish situation. If you are unfortunate enough to land up in such a situation, do not shy away from a post-mortem, because in a situation like embolism death, only an autopsy can help you and prove that you were not negligent in what you were doing. And remember one thing, in a death on table, unnatural death situation, you need not take the consent of the patient party. Informing the police and authorities is good enough. Res ipsa loquitur is a legal jargon which literally means a thing speaks for itself. If something happens which would not otherwise have happened had you not been negligent. Why this you need to know? Because in a normal negligence case, it is the responsibility of the plaintiff, whoever has brought the case against you, to prove that you were negligent. But once this doctrine of res ipsa loquitur is sought, the entire onus of proving that you were not negligent shifts to you. Then you have to prove that you were not negligent. The plaintiff need not prove anything at all. And because you were under control of the whole situation. Like suppose there is hypoxic brain damage happening during perioperatively, oxygen cylinder getting emptied, wrong pipeline was attached, or it happens when a patient is uncared for and desaturates in the post-op ward, some wrong injection is given intrathecally, a permanent nerve damage occurs following neuraxial blocks. These are situations where it is very difficult to defend yourself. So be mindful of that. In a situation in India nowadays, medical legal claims are reaching in crores. So medical indemnity might be your only friend. But mind you, the insurance company might be your foe, because they make profit by rejecting your claims. So you need to be aware of certain points. All insurance companies, they have panel of lawyers. But I have come across lawyers representing insurance companies who have zero idea about medical case. So you must talk to your agent and ask whether your panel of lawyers is experienced in handling medical legal cases, whether they cover criminal cases, whether they go for out-of-court settlement. And by paying some extra premium, you can actually cover for your unqualified OT assistants, OT hands. Some untoward event happening during patient transport, you can actually settle it. The insurance actually covers it if you have tick this clause. And this AOA AOY ratio you must be aware of. This is something very important. Suppose you have insurance policy of say about 20 lakhs. You have been fined 15 lakh. You think you are well covered. But if your policy is a 1:2 or 1:3:1, this corpus of 20 lakh gets divided in two cases of 10 lakh each simultaneously, or three cases of 6.33 lakh each simultaneously. But how unfortunate will you be to land up in two medical legal cases simultaneously? It's pretty rare. So it is always advisable to put your entire corpus for one case only, 1:1. This is how insurance companies actually do us. And another thing, when you are filling up your form, take an extra sheet of paper and mention, considering you are a freelancer, you don't work in one place, you mention all the places where you go, and at the end mention others. So that even if you miss out something, name of a place and where something bad happens, insurance company doesn't get the opportunity to reject your claim on that ground. These are usual format, some typical coverages and exclusions. Exclusions are very important because these are the grounds on which they reject your claim. At the end, medical negligence is proved by breach of duty by an act of commission or an act of omission which leads to a direct patient harm which is remediable under the law. So be eternally vigilant. Do what you are supposed to do. You know very well. Avoid what you are not supposed to do. You know this also very well. Document everything properly and be adequately covered. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Nandi. That was a very good, elaborate talk on medical legal issues which are really rising actually in the last so many years. More and more anesthesiologists are getting involved in multiple suits, and I feel it's high time that we cover ourselves and take care in private practice. Believe me, even about maybe 15 years back, even I was not actually putting down notes. I feel the documents that you uh, put on the papers is the only legal way you can be protected in the court of law. In case something goes wrong, what you have put down on paper is the only legal defense that you have. Nothing else can save you. That's why documentation is, I feel, one of the most important things. And PAC, freelancers usually finds it difficult to do PAC. But today, in 2022, there was a law of telemedicine which says that even if you do a PAC online on video recording, it is permissible. So permissible by law. So please do a PAC. See that your patients are seen preoperatively before the patient is taken into the OT, because in case there is something which goes wrong with the patient and there are no PAC notes, there are innumerable cases that the cases have gone against the anesthesiologist. So PAC notes for a private practitioner, however busy he may be, there is no excuse for not putting down the PAC notes. Absolutely important. I feel indemnity is one thing which all of us are always covered, but it's very important, as Dr. Nandi rightly pointed out. Please go through your uh, indemnity policies and confirm what are the clauses which are mentioned in it. So definitely, please go through the documents personally and get to know, discuss with your agent and get to know what are the fallacies. And I feel indemnity itself is another big talk. And I'm sure in the next few months we will definitely have a talk only on indemnity also. So thank you. Over to you, Namrata.
Dr. Shomik, there is a
Dr. Namrata, shall I add something?
Yeah, there is a question. Can I just highlight the question from the audience? Is there a definitive time frame for PhDs, Dr. Nandi?
That's what I wanted to say, Dr. Namrata. Shall I say something about that?
Yeah, sure. Please
yeah, basically when the practitioner goes to a clinic, there are two types of scenarios. Sometimes elective cases there, sometimes emergency cases there. So invariably you will find the patient on the table and you are going to do the PAC then and there only. I think whenever you are facing such issues, the PAC has to be done meticulously, even if the patient is on table. Spending 3 to 5 minutes on the table is a good period. You should go ahead with that PAC. Whether it's an emergency or elective surgery, but if it's an emergency surgery, you should put down there was an emergency and we have to do the PAC in emergency. Put the time there. That time is very important. And then I think when you proceed with the anesthesia, putting the time of anesthesia also very important there. And when these things happen, some unfortunate things happen, I think never try to try to manipulate the writing. I never try to do any overwriting or something later on to avoid the things, because those things are taken very seriously by the court of law. What we have seen in our scenarios also, anything written, overwritten or some cutting, that is taken seriously. So even if just putting a time of the PAC, just main findings, even if you can put, that's a good enough. But the timing of PAC is very, very important in all the cases. This is my suggestion for whatever the question was occurring in this chat box.
Shall I answer that question?
Thank you.
Now or later?
No, answer it now. I think we'll cover this
I think
and then go to the next.
if the patient has got some comorbidity that needs to be corrected, then the PAC has to be done well in advance. Otherwise, for ASA1 patients, you can say at least one day. There is nothing specific like you have to do it 24 hours before or 48 hours before, nothing specific like that. But it is always advisable to get in touch with the patient as early as you can so that nothing can be pointed to you later on. If something needs to be done, that has to be done in the right time. That's the point I would like to focus. Pressure control, sugar control, whatever.
In emergencies, as Dr. Bajwa
Emergencies
said,
are a different
it's
issue.
no problem. We see the
It's a
patient on
different
table.
issue. Yeah.
But every other patient, planned surgery, see that the PAC notes are before you take the patient into the OT. That is the timing that is important.
Thank
Basically,
you. I think
whatever you do,
that
you should be able to justify yourself. You
Exactly.
I
should be
think we've got
logically able to justify yourself. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. You have to justify yourself.
go to the next speaker now. Dr. Amartya Sen. Amartya Das, sorry, I'm so sorry. Dr. Amartya Das. And he's one of the very busy junior colleagues of ours. He's very enthusiastic about using new monitors and also in private practice. He's very helpful to other people also. He's been practicing anesthesia since 2017. And he basically works in small setups with minimal corporate attachments. And he's also in second tier towns. His main works are in tier 2 cities. He's primarily doing brain trauma, tumor, vascular surgery, spine, PIVD fractures, deformity corrections, and tumors. All kind of trauma cases, orthoplastic, maxillofacial, and laparotomies. He seldom does elective surgery. He will present his point of view as a very young anesthetist who's just started his practice. So the problems he's faced and how he's managed them. So that is the main thing. Amartya, the slide to you now.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, ma'am. Is my screen visible?
Hello. Yes, but it needs to be full screen.
Yeah, ma'am. Definitely.
Yeah. This is fine. This is fine. Perfectly fine.
Okay, ma'am. I'm starting.
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody, esteemed colleagues, esteemed senior persons. I am Dr. Amartya Das, practicing freelance anesthesiologist, practicing since, say, 2017, 2018. I feel very honored to speak on this national stage, and for this I thank ISA, PPF, and definitely Namrata Madam, without whom my presentation would not have been possible. Today, I'll be speaking on challenges, hurdles of any kind that we face as an upcoming private practitioner. My total discussion will be divided into these 5 points. Point number 1, nobody knows me. Point number 2, nursing home setup. Point number 3, time management. Point number 4, payment. And point number 5, trust and rapport versus payment and availability. Nobody knows me. The first problem that I faced after passing my MD from my medical college and attempting to start my private practice near my home, why would anybody give me a call for a case? Not even the surgeons, not the nursing home management people, no staff. So what I did was I came forward and visited nearby nursing homes and introduced myself. I also asked my fellow friends and colleagues to introduce me to nursing homes and fellow surgeons also. This came in handy because the introduction and the interaction between nursing home management and surgeons is very important according to me. The next point is OT setup. We daily have to deal with cases, and a proper OT setup is very important in doing our job, in keeping the patient safe and also keeping us safe medically. Nowadays, small nursing homes are also coming up with anesthesia workstations. Only we have to nudge them that anesthesia workstation will save a lot of fresh gas because the Boyle's basic machine use a lot of fresh gas flow and the cost may considerably go high. Among the monitoring equipments, EPCO2 initially was not available. Forget about invasive blood pressure monitoring. But after continuously poking, uh, discussing with the nursing home management people, discussing with regarding particular patients, particular clinical scenarios, they have been convinced. And today I work with EPCO2 everywhere I go. I also have multi-para monitors associated with, combined with invasive blood pressure monitoring. Regarding small portable equipments, these I had clarified, these I had customized to be airway adjuncts like bougie, supraglottic airway device, nasopharyngeal airway device. The thing is that I had myself made a small collection of these items, which I carry with me wherever I go. Medications, specific medications can be made available. These are not very much difficult. You have to just give the contact person and the contact number and the cost of the medication. Human resources. This is a very problematic part in small setups. The OT staff, they do not have any idea regarding how an anesthesiologist may face a trouble, what to do when he faces a trouble, and how to help him get out of troublesome and tricky situations. The only thing that can help you is you have to train them, you have to educate them, even you have to handhold them sometimes to give them confidence and to convince them that yes, they are our most helping hand. In this point of human resources, I must also say that it comes in handy to keep contact numbers of uh, seniors, helpful seniors, also local politicians and the local Bahubalis, Netas, because in your time of crisis, I think they are the only person who would be able to help you, who would be able to get you out of any situation. The backup setup, ICU setup, a case gets complicated, a case gets prolonged, we have to take help of the ICU setup. ICU setup is as good as its doctor, nursing, technician personnel. Definitely, the infrastructure also plays a heavy role. What I did to boost this up was I made a list of specialist and super specialist referral doctors, special diagnostic investigations, radiologic investigations, and where to get them. And I kept the list with the nursing home so that whenever I got into trouble, I used to call those doctors and they used to come and help me out of the situation in the post-operative period. Time management. I feel this is the only situation where we do not have any control over the outcome. Cases are delayed by minutes, by hours due to surgeon, assistant surgeon, even the instrument people. The first case delayed means subsequent cases are also delayed. Tension builds up, palpitation occurs. If we can reach the next case in time, communicating with the surgeon, communicating with the designated person is the only issue, is the only outcome uh, that only I can say. Now, the most important part, payment. Because I primarily practice in tier 2 cities in small nursing homes, most of my cases, say 95% of my cases are low package cases. So I do not expect a hefty anesthesia payment, but my payment is respectful. The total package is further reduced due to cut money or referral money that the nursing home has to give to the touts or the referral person, because without the cut money, the cases would not come up in our nursing. Whenever I encounter complicated cases, prolonged cases, say cases with multiple comorbidities, super specialty cases, cases at odd hours, I always ask for extra payment. And as far as I remember, nursing home management people have seldom refused me extra payment. Now, this is a slide which I had made, and I feel this is an important issue. These four issues, these four qualities, trust, rapport, payment, and availability. These four are equally important, but I have categorized trust and rapport into the left side and payment and availability into the right side. Trust and rapport takes time. It takes time to build. Uh, Nobody is going to know you overnight. Nobody is going to know your skills overnight, and nobody is going to trust you overnight. Payment and availability. Availability you can ensure only and only by creating a team or a group. That is the only thing by which you can ensure complete availability. You have to create a group of like-minded people, like-minded anesthesiologist friends who can back you up whenever you are in trouble. This is the end of my speech. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Amartya. That was a very nice, soul-searching, I would say, a very frank talk on what actually you have gone through and what you feel should be the right way forward. I feel anesthesia is all about safety. There should be no heroics in the operation theater. Some surgeons can expect you to, work in compromised setups, but I feel the earlier you learn to say no in your own private practice, the better it is for you. Do not compromise on the patient's safety, because if
Definitely,
unfortunately
sir.
something goes wrong, you will be forced to face the music all alone, whatever legal issues happen or whatever. So don't compromise on setups. We at National ISA have come out with the minimum standards of operation theatre. Please follow them. Please enforce them in every city. Remuneration you mentioned about, yes, I feel it's time that every city now submits their minimum charges for remuneration. We are expecting every city to uh, give us a copy of it so that we can, in future, if we have to interact with the insurance companies, we can tell them that this is what has been decided at local city branch level, because insurance, is very different in every city. So that's why, again, a request to all of you from the east, please come forward with your minimum charges.
So the payment structure varies hugely.
That's why I
So
said the minimum can be anything. There is no upper limit, but every city has to
yes,
decide
sir.
the
Yes, sir.
minimum, and no one in the city should be charging minimum than that. No undercutting. That is what we are trying to talk again and again at national level. That please do not undercut your colleagues. In fact, if a senior person goes, probably he can charge more than what the junior is charging. This is what I follow in our city, and most cities have started following this. At the same time, one important thing that you mentioned about equipment, I feel in smaller cities it's good that 4 or 5 anesthetists come together and buy, say, a video laryngoscope or any advanced airway equipment or even nerve muscle stimulators or whatever. But it's very important that these gadgets have to be used in today's practice. Private nursing homes, private surgeons usually are a little reluctant to use it for their hospital. So I feel it's for the anesthesiologists to come together and share the expenses. Having an
Yes, sir.
action plan ready for mishaps, I feel is what all of us should know, because we are working individually. In case you are working in a particular setup, I mean, DOT is another talk altogether, but always have a backup plan. In case something goes wrong with your patient, you should be sure which hospital you are going to shift the patient, who are going to be your callback guys, which senior
Definitely, sir.
anesthesiologist you can involve in managing that patient, which ICU if the patient requires to be shifted. That action plan should always be ready in every anesthesiologist's mind if you want to be
I
safe in your
I am,
practice.
sir. I am very much lucky that I right now I work in those nursing homes where I have a ICU backup. I have a strong ICU backup
That's very
with
good.
all
You're
the
very
equipment.
lucky.
Yeah, sir.
You're very
I
lucky, and
feel,
that's why
yeah.
that's very good. I mean, it's most of us don't have that privilege, but it's good that you have chosen your surgeon and chosen your hospitals. Very important, I feel, to be successful and happy in private practice today, working with the right sort of people. One more thing just wanted to mention is as you the initial few years definitely go in developing trust and deciding your surgeon with whom you want to work. And I feel once a surgeon is comfortable with you, any surgeon will definitely respect you and pay you for what you want or what you feel your uh, work as an anesthesiologist is. Once
Definitely,
you,
sir. As I had said in my speech in my PPT, it takes time. That is what I
Exactly.
said.
Exactly. Today, in the new generation, I come across a lot of complaints from even some surgeons have contacted me. This anesthetist gives a block and goes away for the next case, or he gives a spinal and he is already gone for the next case. Please, please don't do that. Perioperative physician is
Never
what
done
we
that.
all should be. Shift your patients and only then go for the next patient, next case. Thank you, Dr. Amartya. That was a very nice straight from the heart talk. Over
Thank
to
you,
you, Dr.
sir.
Amartya.
Felt very privileged. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Amartya. That was very well spoken and very bravely and frankly you've shared all your problems and plus the solutions also of how the next generation should start with the thing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can we start with the next speaker is Dr. Krishna Poddar, who basically needs no introduction. She's been a pioneer in in chronic pain management physician, and she's a director of Kolkata Pain and Spine Center. She has been named the TOE Healthcare Pioneer of the East 2020 for pain medicine. She's got ISA award for POS and BCLS and CCLS in 2021. She's president-elect of ISFP and ISA Kolkata Metro City. Areas of interest is, of course, chronic pain, regenerative medicine, and pain education. She's very experienced, one of the oldest friends I have in the circuit. She's almost 34 years. Krishna, Dr. Krishna,
Yeah.
please start your sharing your
Thank you.
screen.
Yeah. Just wait. My screen is. My screen is.
Yes.
You can see.
I can.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. Just. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Namrata, for introduction of mine. You are very kind enough to give. But yeah, we are the best friends. A very old friend from the first day I think you came to Kolkata and we met. So, and thank you ISA National to take this topic, pain practice in the private practice forum. As everyone knows, this now pain medicine is the very upcoming brand, and very young anesthesiologists, they are opting for this. In fact, in this year, the FNB entrance exam, super specialty exam, the 1-4-11 rank, they have chosen the FNB pain medicine, which are the 4 seats, and I'm having 1 seat under me. So why I choose pain medicine? Just wait, I want to do this now. Yeah, and this also down. Today I'll speak why I choose pain medicine, transition from anesthesia practice to pain practice, how to start pain practice, and is it the regret or reward for my life, and take home message. Yeah, why pain medicine? Pain medicine is very important because proper management of pain remains one of the most important responsibility of the society, as the pain relief is the basic human right. How seriously is that responsibility understood and implemented is a reflection of the quality, sensitivity, accountability, and economic capability of that particular society. And pain is as major problem in our country as anywhere else in the world. But there is a lack of formal treatment strategy, has been major lacuna in healthcare in our country. Why I choose pain medicine? The questions many people have asked me or felt it even in my family. Am I not doing good in anesthesia practice? I was not recognized well, or the pain medicine is easier? As they're doing good in anesthesia, I can tell when I shifted from anesthesia to pain, I was in peak of my practice and very, very busy. Not recognized in society, of course, in the society, in the sense, I remember when I was doing MD, my sir was saying, no, don't worry, your family is not understanding it is a good brand. And when I was practicing, some people were recognized who had, I think, anesthesia issues, or they were operated because of anesthetist. Otherwise, people are not giving much importance. Pain medicine is easier? Not, of course not, because you have to study again whole thing. I always tell I have studies maximum in my life is for pain medicine because it is a totally different. Chronic pain is nothing to do with the anesthesia, but you have inclination towards the doing the blocks, that's all. Otherwise, it is a totally, and you have to again study whole of the pain medicine, everything. So it is not an easy job. But I choose pain relief, as I said, is basic human right. Independent practice. I asked my FNB student, why you took the pain medicine after passing? I think was doing anesthesia for the last 5 years. After passing MD, he said, Madam, I want to do independent practice. Because as an anesthetist, you of course always linked to surgeons, you need a hospital, nursing home, everything. But for the pain practice, as other physicians are doing, you can do independent practice. You have very good patient relationship, doctor patient, because here you talk one to one and you are giving what is the best thing is the pain relief to a patients. So they will recognize you. Sometime the elderly make you daughter, sometime younger will make you didi, and like you make lot of relationship with the patients. Impact on quality of life to the patients, it is a growing field. Day by day everything is coming new and lot of research is happening. And work life balance, because I always remember during anesthesia practice, whenever my daughter's birthday is there or anything anniversary is there, that day of course I'll have emergency, and I never be in time for any party or anything. But now at least I can manage. I can say no, I will not give appointment to this patient in evening. I have some like webinar, I'm doing a webinar, that I said my secretary give a patient appointment after late or tomorrow. So this is a work life balance is better. How to start? Training is the most important. Then how to convince the corporate hospital to start, how to start own setup, and how much investment. These are the points I'll highlight. Training. So the training, you will see most of the advertisement in the anesthesia groups, 1 week, 2 week, hybrid, online training. Is my anesthesia, people ask me, is the my anesthesia degree is valid for practicing? Of course you can practice. And once you're MD anesthesia, legally you can practice, but you need a very good training. So no 1 week, 2 weeks. So why anesthesiologist as a key role? Because John Bonica, who has started this whole pain medicine in after Second World War, he was himself anesthesiologist. So development of pain medicine as a subspecialty of anesthesiologist in the 1993 by the American Board of Anesthesia, and presently in ACGME accredited fellowship in pain medicine. So for the training, you should take, now we have the DM pain medicine in 2 of the AIMS, that is Gorakhpur and Rishikesh. Rishikesh is the first AIMS to come up with the DM. Then we have FNB, 4 sits. It is a 2 years course in-house. There is a no online courses. We have Chennai 2 sits, Gangaram 1, and 1 is the My Hospital, Southeastern Railway. There are many PDCC program is running, many like BHU, then KGMG, then PDF in AIMS Delhi fellowship. So I will say now in the national board, of course, has come with FNB, DM in AIMS, and we have lot of university with the university where we have the PDCC or PDF or fellowship program 1 year in-house. So you can opt for it there. Then we have the IAPM from the Indian Association for Study of Pain, where we have the 1 year accredited centers where we give the training to the anesthesiologist for 1 year in-house training, and they have the exit exam. In fact, we have the exit exam for the senior anesthesiologists who are practicing pain, because see, these things are coming up with the 2-3 years. When we started practice it long back in 2005 or 6, that time there was nothing. So from that time, who seniors are doing practice, then we have the exit exam for them. They have to have the publication in pain, and then they give the exam like any other exam happening in a university for pain medicine. The whole thing written exam and viva. So this is the exit exam by the IAPM, and you get the fellowship from the Indian Academy of Pain. Now, how to start a pain clinic in corporate hospital? Because we have 2 setup. Namrata asked me, you please mention it, how to go corporate, as I'm in the... Initially, it was very difficult to convince people about the pain medicine, because I used to learn from the other surgeons, who have the same interest in the pain patients. like they are from anesthesia background, they know some injection, and that is not a pain medicine. So you have to really show your result. So we must ask for OPD. That is again a very hurdle. Then we should have the separate charge from the anesthesia. Initially, I remember when I joined the Fortis, I was in Fortis as an anesthetist and I started pain. They refused to give me the separate charges for the pain. And most of the people, hospital, they do. If you are full-time anesthetist, they will either give very peanuts or they will ask. So getting a referral is again a very difficult and investment. And in fact, in India, only few hospital they have, otherwise the most of the hospital they don't want to do huge investment in pain medicine. Still we are lagging behind. We are working on it from the our pain society, and we are very positive about the future that will have the same importance as the neurosurgeon has. In private clinic, you must have the first one own chamber, so you can and you can have the full setup also privately in your, where you need a 800 to 1000 square feet, you can ask, you can have, but good area so that you are visible to the society. And you can take the financial equipment from the either you can hire them or you can refurbish instrument or OT equipment and furniture again. And if initially very difficult to generate the money, then you can ask the other colleagues also to share your center, so that so rent and the other things you can negotiate. So this is the best way to start on private clinic. In fact, I remember in 2006 when I bought first radio frequency machine, it charged me 9 lakhs. In fact, my husband said, why you are wasting the money that time? Because I was not doing good practice in pain and anesthesia. I said, no, you just keep in mind from the anesthesia practice what I earned. I'm buying a Navlakha har because it was the 9 lakhs, and not keeping in Almira, I'm using it. And I can tell you, because of that radio frequency machine, I become full-time pain physician than the anesthetist, because I invested so much amount. And I was always, everyone is hammering, itna kharcha kar diya abhi, because in anesthesia, I had the zero investment. So, but you should be positive, and it is really upcoming. And what you like or love to do that. So planning and designing your few points, it should be regarding design. Location should be very important. Ideal pain clinic should be in ground floor, but in first floor, lift should be there. Stay small if cost is concerned. A small floor area and 800 square feet is enough. Running cost, you should keep in mind, this can be for the pain clinic. As Namrata asked me to give some figures also, that's why. So this is the thing. 60-80,000 maybe your rent, then manpower 20-30. You can keep only 2 manpower. One is for reception and one is for, and extra, like you can have the some rehab program in your or you can have the medicine disposable or the medicine shop. This way you can compensate your charges. And how to show, yeah, I'm there, and the pain is not managed by orthopedician or surgeon. I can tell you, your competitor is not pain. In fact, we want the more many people are coming in pain, that will increase our practice, because people will know and aware about the pain medicine or pain physician or the specialty. So you have to show, and your competitors are, as the public always, even few doctors, any pain. Even I know one of my patient of headache went to the orthopedician to show, yeah, I'm having headache, where the orthopedician has no role of treating headache. So this advertisement I like, somebody has posted and I given. So this is very, very important to make people aware about your specialty, about yourself. So doctor reference, newspaper you can add, social media, website, Google ad. Nowadays the social media is the best to advertise, and you can do free camps if you invite. Now this is what are the disadvantages, because I'm showing you everything positive, but of course there are some negative points which we facing continuously. Being a new branch, patient have very low trust. They again think, I don't know. People ask me in detail, then I have to tell everything. I'm anesthetist, I was doing this, now I have trained here, I have trained here, and now this. So you have to make the trust and say ki we know how to manage pain, how to diagnose the cause. I'm telling you, Mane, once you are pain physician, you are not doing only intervention. You have to diagnose. You have to see whole thing. Maybe you know the how the psychological counseling you do or the CBT, because you have to learn everything, because pain is very complex and variable pain conditions are available. Long term commitment should be there with the patient and long duration and ongoing, because patient don't accept intervention and they know 100%. You can always say in anesthesia there is a 100% guarantee, there is a 100% result, but in pain you cannot say. We say if it is a 60%, that is a 100% release. Limited immediate relief and delayed outcome is disadvantage. Resource intensity, cost, because they are already exhausted. And normally patient, you get very frustrated. One of my patient has a fibromyalgia, but what is the cause? She doesn't want to stay in the combined family, and her husband doesn't want to have a single family. This is the main cause. She will always come, because you have to learn all the stories and just to give them the psychological transition from anesthesia. This was a very big question when I started pain practice. Nowadays very easy, because many hospitals, they are taking full-time pain consultant or part-time pain consultant, because it was so difficult. You were in one branch where you are busy full-time and having good earning, and then suddenly you are studying also and nowhere. Very difficult how to survive. There is a lot of insecurities. But if you are well trained, nowadays people are aware, hospitals are aware, so I will recommend young people to, they can join any medical college and they can say, because I will do pain as an assistant or associate professor. And medical colleges are taking, because pain clinic or pain specialty is must for running any MD or DNB courses. So they are taking. So you can take attachment, so that at least you have some patient. Where one more thing, if we patients are free, taking free treatment, your OPD will be full, and you will get a lot of referral also. So you can join that, and simultaneously you can do practice also. This is the way you can do the transition, or you can do fix. I will do anesthesia for 2 hours, 3 hours in morning, and then in evening. But you cannot do that same time, because what was happening with me, if I mean,
If I,
friend, okay.
Krishna, can
So,
I
Japan.
just, and yeah, it's your time is based
Okay, sure.
moreover.
Sure.
More
So
than,
last,
just,
it's a
yeah,
last
yeah.
slide. Don't worry. So take home message. If you want to do pain practice from our shift from anesthesia, pain medicine is super specialty of anesthesia. Always remember, it is not the part time or something. Understand pain medicine as a science, not as just a block or needle injecting clinic. Extreme dedication, education of yours of oneself can make a successful pain specialist. Get some good practice going first, improve quality of result, have some goodwill, and then capitalize on there. Might take 3 to 4 years to have of your trouble and pain, but it might give slow but still very strong for sure. That is there. Future is there. So thank you. Thank you very much. And I encourage all can take the pain specialty as a specialty, and I'm available all the time. If anyone want any help how to go about it, I'm always there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. That was quite an exhaustive talk. And the idea was, in the last two webinars we had discussed about intensivists. Both anesthesiologists are getting into intensivist or pain. So that's why we kept this talk on pain, just to let people have an idea how to go about starting a pain clinic. Thank you, madam. That was very nice. Over to you, Namrata.
Stop. Yeah.
Sorry, I wanted to share this thing. Krishna, you gave a very good talk. And if there are any questions, we'll just cover it later on once we finish, and before Dr. Abid comes over. There is this participation is very low. I think Dr. Pankaj, this is for you to, though you've seen it, but basically it is that because that private practitioner forum exists in Eastern region. We need to give them a responses. 50% don't know that there is an.
Yes,
And
actually.
Only 30% are members. So we have such low participation because of this. So I have tried to put it in all forums and all. Dr. Pankaj, can you let us know how to increase the participation and what
I
should
think maybe,
support this?
Namrata, maybe the YouTube people are watching live on YouTube or something like that. Sometime, people don't want to interact and they watch. Hello? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
But today I also share many locally also I said.
Yeah, but it is still low. The participation is still are not aware of the forum at all. And only 50% still just PPF forum.
But this is the webinar from the national headquarters also, so people know.
Increase the number of participation, though the questions are, I think, the same. So, Dr. Abid.
Yeah, the next talk.
Dr. Abid is one of the very respected senior anesthesiologists of Kolkata. He's very helpful and affable. And he's our first and last contact in difficult airway management. He's a private practitioner, freelances mostly, but he's attached to GD Hospital in Kolkata. And let's hear it from him. His journey is one of the most interesting journeys I have come across. And like Dr. Krishna Poddar, he started investing way before we even knew about nerve stimulators and nerves and other things. So let's hear it from his voice, how his journey. Dr. Abid, please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself. And can you share, or do I need to share your slides? Dr. Abid, please unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you share your slide, or will I do it for you?
Yes, I'm trying it. Can you get my screen?
Yeah, Namrata is doing it for you, sir. No problem.
Can you get my screen?
Yes, sir. We can see your screen.
Okay.
Can you?
Can you see my screen?
No, sir.
No?
Namrata, why don't you share it? Namrata, please share it.
Yeah, that is what I was saying, that I'll share the
please share.
screen.
Please share.
Okay.
Full screen.
I can't.
Okay. Okay. Can I start now?
No, I am having a problem with the screen share. Just a minute, sorry.
Double click. Double click.
Not getting.
Can you get my screen? No.
Namrata, let it be half screen. Doesn't matter. Let's go ahead.
Okay. But I can't move the thing. Okay, stop.
Looks like
You can start,
On
Dr.
the
Abid.
right side down bottom, there is a slide share this thing.
Yeah, I know, but
No, go to the
somehow
bottom. Go to the bottom. Go to the bottom.
No, the previous, I can't remove the previous. Just a minute. Sorry. Just
The
give me
last
some.
speaker has not stopped screen sharing, yeah? He has, I
Yeah,
feel.
I think so.
He
Yeah.
has, I feel.
I don't know why I can't see myself. I can't see it.
No,
See
but
myself.
it is come on the screen.
The screen
We
is coming here.
can see you.
Yeah, we can see it. Namrata, go to the
Yeah.
bottom and make it full screen. That's all.
I can't see the screen myself. That's the problem. Okay. I can see. Wait. Okay, fine. Sorry. Yeah.
Go to the bottom. The
Bottom right side, ma'am.
bottom, huh? Yes. Little more down. Little more down. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sixth icon. No, the other side.
This one?
Towards the right of the screen.
Right side, ma'am.
Go down little. We can see your cursor.
I still can't. Speaking,
Come on,
Savita, let me see if I can.
Can I try myself on?
Yes, sir. You can try.
Try.
Yes, I'm trying it. Okay.
Namrata, you'll have to stop first. Then only then sir can try.
What's happened? I was sharing well with this.
No more to close it. I am trying on screen again.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It's coming.
It is coming.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We can see the first slide. My journey as a freelancer. Dr.
Okay.
Nurpal Abid. Yeah.
We have done somewhere. Is it visible now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Can you talk without the screen sharing, sir?
I can talk definitely.
No, go ahead, sir. Please start. Doesn't matter.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, respected
Good evening.
chairpersons and the attending and the audience. I am thankful to the organizer and the ISA National Private Practitioner Forum for giving me opportunity to share my experience as a freelancer in anesthesia. We learned the basics of anesthesia during my house job shift. That time, only available volatile anesthetic was ether. Today is the history, it is the history, but we learned the open air anesthesia that time. My first anesthesia outside the hospital, one afternoon after finishing our OT schedule, I was picked up by a surgeon. We did a hydrocele operation under open ether anesthesia. The surgeon paid me rupees 80. It was my first earning from freelance anesthesia in 1986. In 80s, the small nursing homes were devoid of anesthesia machine. Portable boils were available, but it were too costly to us. I bought a portable air ether vaporizer, a laryngoscope, and few endotracheal tubes. My first investment for anesthesia in 1986. I am sharing my photograph, but it is not visible, I think. Later on, during post-graduation, I bought a arm muscle stimulator in 1990. On return, I got the clinical insight, but not the money. During practice in mid-90s, I purchased a cardiac monitor second-hand from Dr. K. Shankar when he left the city. I could recover it by billing on the patients. Small nursing homes had no obligation to buy monitors for anesthesia, not even the equipment. In 91, I completed my MD. Finally, I came out of the institution and became full-time freelance anesthesiologist. At this struggling time, I got associated with an enthusiastic maxillofacial surgeon and would be the first microvascular surgeon in Eastern India. We started handling patients with all possible types of difficult airway, particularly patients with TMJ ankylosis, oral submucous fibrosis, etc., with restricted mouth openings. They are usually young, young adults or children. I can share my pictures, but it is not possible. Anyway, blind nasal intubation was the only way to manage, but failure was the rule. Often leads to tracheostomy. This avoidable tracheostomy, with all its complications, was very painful experience to us. We were dreaming of an equipment like fibroscope to overcome all these avoidable morbidities. In every field, risk and responsibility were directly proportional to respect and remuneration. Anesthesia is an exception here. Risk is tenfold, remuneration one-tenth. In government setups, things are different, but in private, DDO, that is drawing and disbursing officer, is the supreme. He disburses the minimum possible. In private cases, DDO is the surgeon or rarely the general practitioners. In corporates, DDO is the management. Once at a surgical lounge in leisure time, a big shot in surgery raised voice. I always take qualified assistant, no less than MS, and pay them well. He gave an example. You know, I paid my assistant, who was the MS, 2,500. I remembered I was the poor anesthetist, did my MD, but got only 500. One fifth of the assistant. My heart broke in shame and humiliation. It was my observation. I might be proved wrong. This paying habit was grown from the background image of ether dispensing OT boys at the head end of the table, role model of an anesthetist, camouflaged and imprinted deep in the minds of first generation surgeons. The same has been percolated through generations. The art of surgery transfers to the juniors and trainees, modified or unmodified. So the paying habit to the assistant and the anesthetist, more to those guided by the seniors of older generation. Today, most people know the importance of anesthesia and its risk too. They might correlate this risk during bulk payment of surgical team fees. They don't know the reality of actual breakups. But the corporates know. Corporates catch this point and minting my example is Woodlands Hospital, Kolkata. With the passage of time, practice increased with simultaneous increase in difficult and failed intubations. In 99, I joined difficult airway workshop during sharp anesthesia conference at Chennai. I handled fibroscope and decided to have one, but the hindrance was money. In 2000, decision of having personal bronchoscope created mixed response. Estimated investment was 2.5 to 3 times of my annual income. Friends and well-wishers were worried about the recovery of my investment. That time, Lady Diana's death was the news headlines. One day, a news scoop appeared. Lady Diana's undergarments auctioned in millions. I questioned, why? What for? I convinced myself, invest. Invest for passion, if not money. In 2000, I booked a bronchoscope. Finance was a problem. My wife stood beside me with her personal savings. Getting formal training was a luxury, so trial and error. I am thankful to my patients and the surgeons for their patience and cooperation to smoothen my learning curve. My freelance practice took a new turn. Anesthetist colleagues started calling me to manage difficult intubations. I got excited in standing beside them in difficulty. I was really honored when my teachers and seniors called me in medical colleges to manage special cases using my bronchoscope. Years later, medical college procured intubating bronchoscope under MSA instructions. I was honored again to give hands-on training to our anesthesia PGTs and colleagues. We conducted several difficult theory workshops under the banner of ISA. At the beginning, I used to be hesitant to ask fees for the procedure, an old habit of pocketing money whatever the surgeons offer. Now I can charge freely according to the status and grade of the procedure. I can bargain too. It's an excellent experience, a sense of honor and self-reliance. I always ask the surgeons to keep their regular anesthetist in charge of anesthesia. I do my job, charge it, and leave, keeping a sweet relation with my colleagues. Jhanjhat khatam. I think in professional investment, returns can't and shouldn't be judged in terms of money only. Return is substantial, but in the form of self-satisfaction, recognition, reputation, and self-reliance. And of course, money counts in the long run, direct or indirectly. So at the end, to increase professional credibility, one shouldn't hesitate investing. All investment should be purposeful and pre-calculated. Earlier is better for long-term gain in profession as well as in finance. So keep strong faith on yourself. Anesthesia is a separate specialty. Anesthetist is not an assistant to a surgical team. Anesthesia fees is a right. It must be reasonable and respectful. And don't hesitate. Ask for yourself. Thank you. Thank you for patience hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Abid sir. Even though we could see the slides later on, I feel you are a real epitome of what an anesthesiologist should be and can achieve in his life if continues to persevere in what he wants to do, decide for himself, and lay his own standards. I feel yeah, you purchased a neuromuscular monitor. I'm sorry, nerve muscle stimulator. That was I feel in 1990 or so.
1990, when I was PGT in anesthesia.
Right, sir. So I mean that itself speaks that I mean you've always been ahead of the times, and I feel it's people like you who lay standards in the city. Seniors like you can really guide the juniors and be the standards of practice in that particular city. And I've been very fortunate to have interacted with you and met you during this course of organizing this webinar, sir.
Sure.
And I feel it's great that what you have been doing, everyone in the country should definitely repeat. Specialize yourself in something which probably you realize soon that there's no one having a fiber optic bronchoscope in Calcutta, and I feel you went one ahead and did your own investments, and today you are on top of the world, I would say. Thank you, sir. That was very enterprising. And I'm sure.
I think
yes,
I need to. I need an apology. Sorry, Abida. I had it right there, and then you said you'll share, and then it got all mixed up. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried to show the slides later on. I think later on.
Yeah, no, but even then, sir did full justice to his talk, and I feel really hands off. I mean, I salute people like him all over the country. Please go ahead with the good work you're doing, sir. And I am sure East part of our country is proud to and privileged to have someone like you leading the ISA. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot for that talk.
Thank you.
I think now I'll give the mic to Irene. Irene, please take over. And
thank you, Namrata ma'am. We have the next section of the program today. panel discussion was we themed it as romance and tragedy of private practitioner, because we are going to unravel the challenges, inspiration, disappointment, and everything that private practitioner face during their journey. So today we have in a panel discussion 5 panelists. Ma'am, are you sharing this thing? The slides?
Just a minute. I think my slide sharing has all got this thing. Can you share it? You have it with you.
You can just introduce them, no problem. Just introduce.
Okay, we'll just introduce them. So we have with us Dr. Saroj Kumar Sahu sir. He has been practicing anesthesia for the last 45 years, and he is a very senior and respected anesthesiologist in Orissa. He has worked in various setups there, and he is also actively involved in ISA and IMA. So we have the next is Dr. Shovan Kumar Rath. He is also from Orissa. He is presently practicing as interventional pain, and he is a director of Pain Free Orissa. He is awarded by Times Health Icon as the best pain physician of Orissa in 2017, 18, 20, and 21. We are very proud to have you here today, sir. And we have also with us Dr. Shantanu Hazari, Senior Consultant at Spurs Hospital and Critical Care in Bhubaneswar. He has been in practice for the last 22 years, and he has worked in various setup like neuro and pediatric setup with different CLAP foundations also. So the last two are from Assam. We have Dr. Vijay Ray. He is a consultant anesthesiologist as well as a co-owner of MRD Hospital in Silapathar. He also was a freelancer for 15 years. His interest in work area is obstetric, neuroanesthesia, regional anesthesia, and ICU. And we have a very young doctor, Dr. Abhinav Podar. He is a consultant anesthesiologist and intensivist in Apeksha Hospital, which is a premier hospital in Dibrugarh. His field of interest is regional anesthesia and infertility clinics. He is also into pediatric anesthesia. So we have 5 panelists today. I will hand over to Dr. Namrata for the questioning of the first 2 panelists. Namrata, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yeah, I'm
think
sorry.
you take over from here.
Good evening, panelists. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Dr.
please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, please go ahead.
I'll ask Dr. Vijay and Dr. Abhinav Podar together. I think they are practicing both together in Dibrugarh. Dr. Abhinav, please unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself.
Dr. Podar, unmute yourself. We can't hear you. Hello.
I think, ma'am, can you unmute or from the this thing? Can ISA headquarter unmute him?
Oh,
Yeah,
now,
now, am I audible? Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Good evening, everyone.
Do we have Dr. Vijay Ray? Do we have Dr. Vijay Ray?
Vijay,
is he there?
He was here a few moments back, but right now I don't know where he is.
Anyways, Dr. Podar, can you tell me, we'll start with you. which is a very common problem we have. How do you manage time in private practice, and how do you manage overlapping cases when you have problems with time management? How do you manage that in your private practice?
In the initial days of my practice, while I was doing freelancing, so it became a challenge to manage all the cases because there were overlapping cases daily. But right now I'm practicing in a single hospital, so overlapping cases are not a problem because I don't have to run about to other hospitals. I manage in a single hospital only.
So how do you manage that?
Like we have a huge OT complex. When one of the cases is about to finish, we just put up the second case that way.
Okay.
Like
And
overlapping cases, this becomes a problem when we work in different hospitals as a freelancer. Like if some case gets
do you have
extended
any
to the
tips
next.
for the juniors who have these overlapping cases, or if they are stuck in a traffic and the last case goes overboard, then do you have any tips for the next generation?
The first thing one should do is inform the next surgeon that due to such an so reason I am getting late. At least make a point that you inform the next team that you will be late by 15 minutes, half an hour, so that they don't anticipate, okay, the guy is about to reach in 5 minutes and they get panic.
You have a very good backup in your hospital. How did you manage to convince the management about giving you all the instruments and ultrasound machine and good machines? How did you manage to convince them?
The management, they have to get the results. So whenever first you have to convince them daily that we need these things, and when you give us all these gadgets, these things will decrease the referral from your hospital, the management's hospital. And once you get the results, you have to continuously show them that, okay, these are the results, look, we are getting. Because the management understands the so you have to show them regularly, because of your this investment we are increasing our this patient, we have increased certain type of operation, and so your revenue has increased. That is the way. If we talk to the management properly in a clear way.
Basically, what Dr. Abhinav has done, that he's working in a multi-specialty hospital and managing about 4 or 5 operation theaters at various scheduled. He schedules the surgery, and that's how he does not have problem of overlapping. But at the same time, he's equipped himself with the latest of equipments in a small place like Dibrugarh. And I mean,
I find it very difficult to convince. Like, I have ultrasound machine in 2 of my hospitals, but I'm finding it very difficult to convince the management about the ultrasound machine. They're saying nerve stimulators is enough for this thing. So, how did you actually show them the returns per instrument, that these are the returns and these are the
Like,
cases? Is that
I'll give
how
an
it
example
works?
with ultrasound. By using ultrasound, I gave adductor canal blocks for knee replacement surgeries. This orthopedician was quite happy with the result we got with the adductor canal blocks, and gradually in 2-3 months, the knee replacement cases have gone up to like 10 cases per month. So the management saw the result. Okay, there were no knee replacement surgeries happening in our town, and gradually our hospital started to doing 10 cases. And when the surgeon also, he told, okay, these blocks have helped me to increase the patients. I'm happy doing the cases here. So the management was happy. Okay, the investment of the ultrasound has definitely increased the type of surgery. So that is the
And
return they are getting.
do you have protocols? Like, do you have difficult airway protocols, written protocols, which you have, or blood transfusion or
No.
anaphylactic reaction protocols? Because you are now working in one setup, so you basically can have the protocols. So, do you actually have the protocols written?
We are,
And
no, right now we don't have, but me and my colleague in the ICU, who is also a senior anesthesiologist, we are working on it to get a printed protocol for all this situation.
And okay, and what about the remuneration? And are you satisfied with the remuneration? Who gives you the remuneration, first and foremost? And are you satisfied with what you get?
The surgeons usually decide the remuneration. In
You get a
some like
percentage
law
of the
cases
surgeon's fee?
or difficult cases, yeah. No, not a percentage. It's like kind of fixed only. For cesarean, for lap chole, these are the regular cases or the fracture cases. If the case is extended a bit, or if it's a comorbid case, I can ask for a little bit more. and they're happy to give it. But otherwise, mostly it's decided by the surgeon himself or herself.
Dr.
Yeah, so
Pankaj,
we are,
you want to say
yeah,
something?
so we are working on this actually. We are trying to promulgate all over the country that anesthesia charges should be irrespective of the surgeon charges. That is why again the minimum charges of every city should be set up or fixed by every ISA branch. So you decide your charges, surgeon
चलो
decides
join
his
करो
charges.
join करो.
Let's not have any percentage
हम
basis or
join किया
something.
आप भी join करो.
If we can get away with it, I feel it will make wonders for our profession.
I've asked Dr. BJ Rai to join.
Okay, that's
Is
good.
he there?
Actually, he must have got stuck in an emergency. So that's why it's very important that we decide our own charges. Most important, I feel, if we can do that all over the country, nothing like it.
Yeah, definitely. We should have one voice in deciding our own charges.
Irene, can you take over for Dr. Next?
I think Dr. Vijay has joined over. Vijay da.
Go with the next question. You can stick to that.
He's trying to join.
Is joining.
Go ahead with the next question, no problem.
Okay,
Dr.
sir.
Shobhan, start with Dr. Shobhan.
Okay, moving over next to our next panelist, Dr. Shobhan Kumarat. Shobhan sir, you're there?
Yeah.
Hi, Shobhan sir. So, would you like to tell us a little bit about your pain management clinic? Okay. The host, can you unmute him? Can you unmute Dr. Shobhan Kumarat?
Dr. Shobhan, please unmute yourself.
No, I think the host has to unmute, ma'am. The host has to unmute him, I think.
I don't.
No.
No,
he has to do it himself.
Actually, the host need to unmute. Otherwise, I think I'm unmuted now.
Yeah. Now
Good.
you're unmute. We can
Yeah.
hear you, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about your pain clinic, this thing? Where you work?
Yeah, actually, I'm practicing for last 14 years. I started my practice in 2010 as a simple anesthesiologist, and initially, in the initial years only, we had made a group. Actually, it was a registered group. Actually, me and my senior, Dr. Shantanu, was there, and we were practicing single-handedly. But after that, within a year or two, we made a private limited company. That was almost like 10-15 anesthesiologists were there, and we started our practice as anesthesiologist. For initial 5 years, along with pain, I was doing anesthesia, and that group still exists, and the group practice is still existing. But recently, almost like for last 5 to 7 years, almost I have totally left anesthesia, and now I am into pain, as Dr. Podar was also there. And so in similar way, I'm practicing pain only. And we have our own setup. It's a 50-bedded hospital. Almost like I'm one of the directors of the hospital, and as well as few others are also there from other branches. So in that hospital, we are practicing pain as well as anesthesia. But for the timing, I'm not practicing anesthesia. I'm full time into the pain. But I'm looking after the admin part. So it was earlier I was receiving money, now I'm paying money. So on both the sides, I can see where to pay and where not to pay. And so I can say that I'm more lenient for the anesthetist because earlier I was getting a less amount of money because it was like some cases were 1,500, 2,000. So we have increased it almost like in every cases we are paying a good amount so that because I can feel that during my practice time how much I was getting and what should be the actual payment. So that part we have tried to rectify at least, and along with that,
I would also like to ask whether, like, how do you manage your finances when you were working as a freelancing anesthesiologist?
As I said,
And
when I was practicing as a freelancing anesthetist, from the day one only, we had made a group. So it was a group practice. The money was coming to the group and it was being distributed. So everyone were a part of the group. So we were drawing salary directly from the group. So there was less of a private practice. Initial days, it was like freelancing. When I was going to a setup, I was getting the money. But within initial 2 3 years, we made that group. So now after that, the money was coming to the group and it was equally being distributed as per the status of the anesthetist. Those who have joined accordingly, newcomers or somebody is 2 3 years senior, somebody is 5 7 years senior. So accordingly, the payment was being done, and it was good enough because many a times you are stuck at some places and you are not able to conduct the cases, and you can send somebody else. That is one part, and the best part was like I'm stuck in a case which is a very complicated case, and I need some help. In that case, some seniors are available who can come down and help me out. So both way it was helpful. It was not like only
so,
in the absence.
do you think there is like conflict, like some people work more and then the other not working more, but they are drawing salary, I
No,
mean,
no,
from the same.
that part was very clear that those who are means the hours of practice were fixed. So there was nothing like somebody is working and not getting adequate amount, and somebody is not working and getting adequate. So that was never a part of, because the schedule was prefixed from the day one when the month was starting. So we had a roster, and according to the roster, everyone is working. Suppose I have to work in this hospital for so many hours, and I'll be doing that. After that, I'll be doing working in some other hospital. But with a gradual time, what we did is we fixed the anesthetist in the hospital, because usually what happens, surgeons are associated with some anesthetists and they want to see their faces regularly. They don't want to work with newer anesthetists every day. So in that way, what we did is gradually with time, we tried to fix few anesthetists to the hospital, and only we started rotating the newer anesthetists, so that it became very easy for them that sometimes somebody new people are coming, so they are guided by the senior people. So it was being easy for that time. And so that is what group practice is always better wherever it is possible, though gradually as the new corporate hospitals came up, the things became very difficult, and now we are not working in many of the corporate hospitals because they have their own system. They don't want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
adapt a
true.
team and manage a team as such. So we are working one or two hospitals. Apart from that, I'm managing my hospital where we have freelancing anesthetists, those who are working at other hospitals and they are coming to the hospital. That is one part. And rest my pain practice, because I am staying in the hospital, I'm looking after the admin as well as the pain part. So all the things I can manage.
So, like when you were working as an anesthesiologist, this thing, do you have an emergency fund? And
Yeah, we had an emergency
is it
contingency fund suffered.
indemnity?
Yes, suppose some anesthetist is leaving the group all of a sudden. So we have to hire somebody, and somebody is sick ill or something is not able to work. We need to work somebody else. So we had some contingency fund with us that was being utilized whenever it is required. And that was one part. Another part was that everybody must be insured, so that if any legal issues come, so that can be taken care of. So everybody was insured. That was from the day one only.
Okay. So, like, what do you want to advise the freshers now? Like, should they go for individual practice or they should join as
If you're
group?
using the ultrasound in your pain practice, then somebody is asked about PNDT Act.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, nowadays it is easier. In our state, I can say getting a PNDT with a pain practice is possible. People are getting ultrasound only for pain practice. So it is not that much difficult. Though PNDT Act at everywhere it is difficult, but at our setup, like I'm using my ultrasound and it is for pain only. I have one ultrasound machine, and another is there in the uh, gynec setup and other ultrasounds. There is another machine. So for pain practice, I think everybody, those who are practicing pain, they have their own ultrasound machine. So that is not that much difficult. Though at some states the rules are different, so it
Hmm.
differs from state to state. So otherwise, but there should be at least some uniform code for the anesthetists as well as the pain physicians for using the ultrasound, because we are not doing it for any kind of gynecological event. So it should be, I think, from the ISA or ISSP, we should be, there should be some letter to the PNDT people so that they can make it very easier for us to get that.
Yes, yes. Just to inform everyone, we are already working on it at the national ISA. We are trying to do what best we can do, but unfortunately, the rules are very different in every state. Like
Yeah.
in Maharashtra, things are very, very stringent, but I feel down in East, things are a little easier. So you are finding it easy to get it. But
Yes.
in the recent few, I know of some anesthesiologists who have managed to get it even in their private nursing homes. So things are changing, and we are hoping that in the next few 6 months or so, uh, things will become much more easier, even in states like Maharashtra.
Yeah, because
Thank you. Thank you.
ultrasound is nowadays is a part and parcel of all the blogs we are
Exactly.
doing or everything, because nothing is blind anymore. And for us,
Exactly.
even for the pain practice, for the musculoskeletal part and everything, we are doing it under ultrasound only. And that becomes very easy, and you can do it in the OPD basis. No need of taking the patient again to the OT and doing it. All the musculoskeletal part can be done in the OPD again.
Yeah.
So that should be.
Yeah, let's see. If we can have one national rule on this aspect of practice, it will
Yeah.
make things a lot. But it has been being discussed in our national ISA meetings, and let us see what best can be done about it. It's in the pipeline. Definitely, it's going on, the discussion.
So I think everyone will be getting updated about it from the ISA. So Vansa, my next question is like costs and challenges of investment in procurement of your equipments for your pain clinic. So how would you like to describe that?
One thing is, as Dr. Poda said, she bought the RF machine before, in fact, she started practicing. Actually, it should be always like whenever you start practice, you should have the best possible armamentarium with you. It is never that I'll get a lesser budget thing and I'll later I will update or something. That should not be. You should always get the best possible thing for the practice that is required from day one. And for that, like the same thing I did, I started my pain practice with my own RF machine, radio frequency machine, that was all cost man almost like 12 lakhs that I bought in 2010. And I had my own radio this thing ozone machine and other whatever required things I purchased myself. But when it comes to the hospital part, like in the hospital also I am using my equipment. The hospital has not procured anything for me. But the question comes when somebody is practicing in a hospital, usually they don't do this, because initial 5 days I was working in a private setup in a medical college. I asked them for many things, but that didn't happen because they always work on the ROI. Where is the ROI? And show us the ROI so that we can purchase something. In the medical college, maybe it is easier, but when you go to the corporate setups, it is very difficult to get. Like you ask about private endoscopes. Suppose you are starting a endospine surgery, you want endospine equipments, you want radio frequency equipments. So they will say, ki, radio frequency machine is so much costly, so why should they procure it? But now it is very much easier that almost if you are purchasing a RF machine and you are very much keen on doing the procedures properly, then in a year only you can get you can get that money back, because nowadays all the procedures are covered in insurance as well as the state government laid in government laid schemes in all the things. It is almost like covered, so we don't have to think about the finances anymore. And almost like we are getting the ROI in a proper ROI. And rather, I'll say that those of the anesthetists who want to think about to enter into pain practice, in fact, they can enter into the pain practice, because earlier what I was getting in during anesthesia practice, now almost like it has doubled. And I'm not working under anybody. I'm working myself and for myself with my time. So this is what I'll want to say to everybody, those who want to practice in and want to go into pain practice.
Glad to know, sir, that you are enjoying your pain after anesthesia. And I hope so many young anesthesiologists who are attending today will get this message also. Thank you so much for being with us, sir. I think I'll hand over to Dr. Namrata.
Sahu is one of the very senior panelists we have, the most senior we have. So, Dr. Sahu, initially when you started the practice, how did you start to get the cases from the hospitals or surgeons?
Good evening, madam.
Good evening, sir.
Actually, I started my practice in 1975-76. So it is almost 45 years completed. Still, I am practicing. So the point behind it that in private practice you need certain things. Number one, if you put some light, the insect will come. That is what the point behind a private practitioner. So efficiency is number one. Number two, your attitude and behavior with the surgeons and the nursing homes. And third thing, the trust. You must have to develop the trust. You should not ask money. These are the four things to increase your practice. Right.
And did you, you started very early. So at that time, did you have a PAC clinic, or what was the format of seeing the patient first before you brought the patient to the OT? Or did you start?
You see, I was attached to, during my first year of anesthesia post-graduation in 1976, one of my assistant professors, he was my, so to say, mentor and the role model of anesthetist. He has taught us how to be associated with, he has initiated this pre-anesthesia checkup. You may not give money, but I will look to the patient. If you call me, it's all right. If you do not call me, it's all okay. He has started, he was Dr. Suresh Mahapatra. He is no more. So, from that day, my attitude was to have a just look over the patient for about 4 or 5 minutes. Maybe in operation theater, maybe previous to that, previous day.
How many investigations did you have initially when you started your practice? How many investigations did you do for pre-anesthetic checkup?
How many?
Investigations. What basic investigations did you get it done when you initially started your practice?
Initially, just the routine investigation. That's all.
What is
blood, urine, stool, even not the electrolytes, nothing.
And how has it changed over the years? How has it changed over the years to now at present? How much?
You see, we have started relaxant, availability of a relaxant was a dream. The professor used to keep 1 or 2 ampoules of this DTC, D-tubocurarate. That time, that was the costliest muscle relaxants available. Otherwise, galamine was the common muscle relaxants. Otherwise, only the ether and the anesthesia apparatus, Boyle's apparatus. Of course, in private sector, nowhere there was a Boyle's apparatus up to the year, say, 85, 80 or like that, about 10 years, without any Boyle's apparatus, we had given anesthesia. And after 90 and 2000 onwards, gradually we have developed in the anesthesia setups, drug armamentarium. We have got quite a good number of drugs. And we have almost left the clinical touch of pulse and eyes. Now, the eyes and pulse and the color of the blood is no more with us. And we are adjusted to the time of pulse oximetry, ETCO to monitoring, and so many invasive procedures.
This
That
so
is the go.
Dr. Pankaj,
Yes.
did you start your practice like this? With
Yes,
just
anesthesia practice. Even I started off with without oxygen, without suction, without. I mean, I had a real tough time. Even anesthesia on wooden benches, and you name it, and it has been done. So that's why I mean, I took it to heart and decided that I start working on it. And
You see,
yeah,
first of all, my thanks to you that you have tried to organize such meets. But unfortunate, last time I had joined, where more than 200 people have joined. Now only hardly 55 or 56.
sir, we were about 70. We were
it is
maximum
62.
70. Yes, sir.
Today is 62.
Yes, sir. But the
62 only.
The positive part is I can tell you, Dr. Dibatia sir is still online. Dr. Venkat Giri is online. All national our
Yes, I have
present
seen it.
president,
I have
past
seen
president. Then Dr. Reen from Kashmir is online.
Yes,
I can see so many people from all over the country.
But
So
this is
I have
the
seen,
mostly
all these
practitioners
people.
practicing
Oh,
time. That
yes.
is the problem. See,
Yes.
this time freelancers, it is a practicing time.
Dr.
See, in the
Venkat Giri,
peripheral
sir.
hospitals, the surgeon do the surgery after OP hours. Not like a corporate where there is a OT day or this thing. See, in our practice, see, I have a case pending. Surgeon has not finished his OP.
So,
That
Doctor,
case is yet to come. I
this
don't know what time.
attendance in webinar,
Another patient, I have a
gradually,
section pending. Bystander has
Dr.
not
Sethi
come.
is also online.
These are the things, practice. That's why
yes,
people are not joining because they're waiting. See,
they
private
can
practice may
join, they
become free
can
only
wait.
after 9 o'clock.
Dr.
That's the
Ajay
thing.
Kumar is there. I can see Dr. Indra was here. So
You
it
see,
doesn't matter, sir. We do our job. We will keep trying. Till
anyway,
people come forward, no problem.
Anyway, let us hope the best.
I hope
to
it
unite
is just a start. I know Eastern region has yet
in
to
single
catch up with the
platform.
private practitioner. The thing it has to yet do a lot.
Yeah.
But at least it's the start, and we've managed at least to get 60 people. So we should applaud those 60 people who are there, and not be sorry for 100 people who are not there.
Well, there was a question about ETCO too.
People are like involved.
There was a question about
Hazari, where our last
Hazari and the other part of the country. That is what our eastern side practitioners are very, very individual. So like we are not very coordinated or something like that. So even ISA meetings and everything also like very few people attend. So it's obvious
exactly
that we are having such
things
a
will
low.
improve,
that
sir.
is the
Be positive and think about it.
Can you see Dr. Hazari here?
Yes, I can see Dr. Hazari, Dr. Ashita Rathod from Madhya Pradesh.
Dr. Hazari
She's online.
Joined. Dr. Hazari, Dr. Hazari,
okay,
there are three.
Unmute and
There are 3-4 things nowadays required for a successful practitioner. Number one, do you hear me, Namrata madam?
Yes, I can. Of course, I can.
Acha. Actually, at present, leave aside our time. But nowadays, there are 3-4 things required for a good practitioner. Number one, if you are a male, you should choose a anesthetist, surgeon, or a gynecologist as your life partner. If you are a female, you should choose minimum an orthopedician or a surgeon, laparoscopic surgeon, so that your practice will go. That is, if you cannot adjust to both, then you should hook a surgeon or own a nursing home for the practice. That is the private practice at present today.
Not
And
this
this
is, sir, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. Many of us are doing good private practice even without having a spouse as a surgeon.
Even without that, we can continue. But with these 4 points, if you are efficient, if your behavior is right, social behavior is right, if you develop a good trust with the hospital or
we have one panelist whom we have to ask questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you highlight Dr. Hazari, please?
Dr. Hazari, are you there?
We can highlight Dr. Shahu and Dr. Hazari both together.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a question in the
I
chat
have
box. There was a question in the chat box about ETCO2.
Yeah, I think we can simultaneously answer the
Yeah.
You see,
question in the chat
Yeah.
box.
So ETCO2 today.
Dr. Rosie wants to know if ETCO2, portable ETCO2 is available. So anyone wants to answer that?
Yes, it's very much available.
which one? It's very much.
Portable
Can you
ETCO2,
tell
sir.
the-
It costs you around
Pankaj, can you
85,000 to
tell the
90,000.
brand? Okay.
Yeah, it will cost you around 85 to 90,000. It's very much available. There are a lot of companies like BPL and MCO which have come out with small portable machines. And even before that, there was a question: should ETCO2 be always? Is it mandatory for a laparoscopy? Yes, it is very much compulsory. There have been so many cases which have gone against the anesthesiologist because ETCO2 was not used. The reading was not mentioned in the notes. So there is no in the 2017 guidelines which had come out. They had said that preferably
So
we should have
actually,
ETCO2.
he asked
The
this
new
question.
guidelines, the new guidelines are saying that ETCO2 is absolutely compulsory and it has to be there for every patient given G or intubated.
So I think she's asking this question in context with using of segmental spinal anesthesia for lap surgery nowadays. Because lots of laparoscopic surgery
Segmental
has
is
been
regional.
done under segmental anesthesia. So like
Yes,
maybe
yes.
know why it is CO2 like needed.
Madam, let me tell you. Madam, let me tell you. In 90s, I had conducted around 1,000 cases of laparoscopic cholecystectomy under epidural anesthesia. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
During 90s, say 94 to 2000, 2002 onward, within these 5-6 years, I had given anesthesia regional epidural in cases of lap cholecystectomy, around 1,000 cases. But at that time, even to Dr. Chobe, in a remote setup, in a surgery conference, I had given epidural to this laparoscopic cholecystectomy. Dr. Chobe has operated. But after that, the surgeons have told they were disagreed about this regional anesthesia in laparoscopic surgery. However, presently again they are insisting sometime to give this regional anesthesia for laparoscopic surgery.
Right, sir. We can go ahead, sir. Next question.
Dr. Hazari, is Dr. Hazari here?
Shantanu?
Dr. Shantanu Hazari is here?
Shantanu Hazari.
Anyways, the panelists, can you please answer that? How do you manage the post-op complications? Who looks after it? And how do you manage to go about it? Especially if you're doing it individually and not in a group practice?
Can I answer now this?
Yes,
yes sir.
Shall I answer? Sir, you need, you are a single anesthetist available in a small nursing home or a kitchen nursing home, so to say. So, whenever you face some complication, you must have to do certain things. A protocol should be followed. Number one, ask your senior. One of the senior. A senior, just seek the help of the nursing home or the hospital administrator. 3, you try to arrange an ambulance and send to the nearest hospital.
Dr. Raj, how do you?
Yeah, actually,
Someone, you
in
can
our
tell it
setup,
also.
yeah, in our setup, actually, we have the backup ICU, and that is why whenever something happens,
In those places, you do
that I'm
not
coming,
have
sir,
backup.
yeah, I'm telling that, sir. if again in those setups where we don't have a ICU backup, at least we can intubate the patient and keep the patient till we get some backup. And at least in any remote areas also, we can get a backup of ICU at least in half an hour or 1 hour distance, where we can ventilate the patient and we can shift the patient. And that is why you should have a proper tie up with the centers, those who don't have a ICU backup. At least with some, you can suppose somebody who is a ICU consultant, you can keep them in your what you can say, not in a payroll, but at least you should have a good relationship with him, so that at time of need they can support you and they can be of help. That is why whenever you are, it is not about only about ICU backup, it is for everything. For whenever we are running a small setup, suppose we don't have a gastroenterology setup, we don't have something like a CT or MRI, we are tying up with other centers. It is the same way, we have to tie up with centers which are nearer to the hospital, and we can take the help of that hospital or the consultant if somebody is available. That is what the motto is. And
Is
if
it
you are in a
allowed?
group practice, then it is very good.
Is it allowed medical legally? See, courts have given a different judgment. Courts have given a judgment that when there was no ICU and you have done a major case, you should not have done that and heavily penalized the doctors. See, I know that
Yes,
my
sir.
friend colleague who did the laparoscopic hysterectomy in a district level place, there was no ICU backup, sent to another hospital. They have heavily fined both the gynecologist
Yes,
and
sir. Yes,
anesthetist
sir.
for doing
What you
it
are
there
saying,
where there was no facility. There are many judgments where they say that it is no ICU, you should not operate under. These are things. But if it is an emergency, acceptable. But elective case, without that, if you are doing, if the courts will not come to your rescue, but sometimes see in the periphery for some, this thing will have to do. But if you are in trouble, you can't escape.
you are perfectly right, sir.
I would like to
Legally, we
add.
are liable because we should not operate. But in fact, from day one, we are not operating in those setups. But I have seen in 2010 when I came to Bhubaneswar, I have operated in a setup which
Dr.
was being
Sharma,
set up in
एक
a
बार
just
बारी
a,
आएगी
you
मेरी
can
बोलने की,
say a 2 BHK
आप
or
उधर
3
ऑर्डर
BHK
करो
home,
तो
and he was doing cases, and the surgeons were like big Apollo, from big Apollo hospital, who are practicing outside. And we have given cases, and after that the patient landed up in pulmonary embolism and sorry, pulmonary edema, and we have to save the patient. I'm not saying that this should be done. This is a scenario which can happen anytime with anybody. Even if suppose I'm saying that you are doing a cesarean section at the peripheral setup, at least we can do a cesarean section at a peripheral setup. Pulmonary edema can happen in that case. What should you do? In that case, we are not legally bound that this case should not have been done. But when it is about a laparoscopic case or some difficult case that is being conducted at a setup where there is no ICU backup, I think there should not be. But I'll be questioning about the government setup. They don't have anything in the government setup, peripheral government setup. Then why they are operating in the government setup? Why they have that government setup where they don't have a backup? That should be the question. But yes, when the legalities come, we are nowhere because
exactly.
those questions never come to
So, like, I would
directly.
like
The
to add
anesthetist will be
here.
at the blame because nobody will ask the surgeon. Only the anesthetist will have to answer because आपने
Backup,
नशा दिया है तो आप अभी
yes.
निकालो पेशेंट को.
Yeah.
Basically, backup plan is a must for every surgery. That's what I mentioned in between the two talks. That you have to have a
So,
backup plan for almost every patient. In case
We
something
need to
goes
I
wrong
have
on
a
would
table,
whole
like
what will
list
you do?
to.
of numbers to contact people whom we
Sir,
can when we land up in trouble.
Yeah.
That must be given in bigger writing. Like Amarto had said that you need to have numbers of politicians, the
yes, yes,
artists
yes.
and the seniors, as well as bigger hospitals. You need to have contacts. Otherwise, it's very difficult to survive in case you.
I'll just give an example.
Namrata,
I'll just
I
give
will
one
give an
example. Dr.
example.
Sahu also know about that case. Actually, one of our senior doctors, almost like Dr. Sahu's colleague, will be Ajing. He was operating in a reputed hospital in this in our city, and almost after giving anesthesia, the person who he was a IIC. He was an IIC, and something happened with that patient, and the patient died. In fact, and the anesthetist was behind the bar for throughout the night because the surgeon backed off. He said that I don't know anything and it is only the anesthesia because of which something has happened. So these things happen. So we have
So
to have our own backup.
one more question, Doctor. One more thing, Dr. Rath, which I also think is that when there is a complication, suppose there's a huge bleeding and we don't have enough blood, or there is a complication which the surgeon has done, when the surgeon is going to explain to the patient party, the anesthetist should always be present. You never know
Yeah, that should be there.
what kind of scenario the surgeon is explaining. When I was young, I was very hesitant to face the patient party. And with experience, I have learned this, that the anesthetist has to go there because you don't know what kind of scenario the
Madam,
surgeon
I will tell one thing. Madam, I will tell one thing.
Yes.
One bright example I am telling now. For my investigation, I had been to a MRI center. For my own knee MRI, I had been to one MRI center at about 7:30 or 8 a.m. So when I attended the MRI center, I had seen through the glass that one of the patient inside the MRI table is gasping. So immediately I rushed into the MRI room and intubated. And within 5 minutes, I asked the ambulance to take him to a hospital. From the MRI room to that place, there was nothing excepting one ET tube. Without a laryngoscope, I had intubated. Because laryngoscope cannot be taken in. Simple with an ambu bag and a tube. The patient was taken over to the capital hospital, which is around 2 kilometers, 1.5, 2 kilometers away from the center. And the case was pending for 2 years. And I had to give the, not explanation, to witness as a opinion. And this opinion counts because of my seniority. And the nursing home was, say, nothing could happen. So for that reason, what I am telling, you should anchor one of the senior.
We were talking about out of 40,
Yes,
like you said, that
yes.
out of 40 anesthesia. Dr. Michel has also asked about liposuction is commonly done in such settings, which is high risk of embolism, which is also true. I have seen and heard about many complications which are in liposuctions.
Even in cosmetic, even in
Liposuction should, any of the cosmetic procedures should not be done outside the OT complex.
But they do it in clinics nowadays. The hair transplant and liposuction is done in clinics. It's very dangerous. I think.
Previously, there was a case in Mumbai, I think.
Dermatological procedures are okay, but when it comes to the question of liposuction, they should not be done because there are a lot of complications that usually happen.
It's being done by dermatologists. No, liposuction and hair transplant is being done by by the dermatologist. And even
there were several cases also.
And all of it. And they are basically junior anesthetists, practicing anesthetists who are called for these kind of cases. So it is very, very dangerous when people go there.
Most of the clinic doesn't even have anesthesiologists, ma'am. We have come across few cases also, like in several cities also, like this thing, they did a hair transplant in a clinic, and then patient went into anaphylactic shock, and then patient was unresuscitable. Patient ultimately died. So like 2-3 cases has come up till now like that, having anaphylactic reactions and all those things. So I think like such kind of cases also should be under like monitored
Like the
anesthesia.
question is, madam, the question is like many things are happening around us which are beyond our control. So we should be worried about what is under our control. Suppose we are operating at a setup. Suppose we are operating in a setup, we don't have a backup. We should be attached to a backup, either a senior anesthesiologist, either a senior ICU consultant, or an ICU setup, should be at a backup. And if you have like what earlier they said that you should have a contact with Bahubalis, then it is also good. That is for your backup.
Exactly.
I think the best way
that is
will
all.
be like encouraging every operating hospital to have their own ICU setup.
Should have
That
at
is
least
the very
Legally, do we stand
at least
any
for a
chance
backup.
to take
important thing.
kind of cases outside OT?
Pardon?
Legally, do we have any chance if we are giving these kind of cases outside OT and some complication has occurred and we have no backup there?
There is no
when you
in an ideal situation, no minor, major, any procedure should not be done in a setup that doesn't have a ICU backup, because anaphylaxis can happen to anyone. Technically speaking, any case can get complicated and go to the ICU. But being practical, but how practical is this? But in a real world, how practical is this?
It's not practical.
It's not practical. So the thing is like, but what I always say, whoever asks me anything related to law, what I suggest is you should be able to defend yourself. What you are doing, if you can justify what you have done, you can probably get away. So, like, you should have some backup, you should have some plan B. Because in the court of law, usually cases are fought by preponderance of evidence. Whichever side has got the higher evidence wins in a civil case, not a criminal case.
Pankaj said that
if you can give enough evidence that you could have got away in a setup like that, you will win the case. It's as simple as that. You have to be like, the risk and benefit.
There is somebody has asked that ophthalmologists are also operating without ICU. But if I suggest, if I say that proper ophthalmic setups, those who are operating, even if I will be talking about Bhubaneswar, those who are operating in a good ophthalmic setup, they have a backup, at least with a Boyle's machine and a bed. Even if they don't
usually have an anesthetist standby. In most of the proper cases, they have somebody on call.
I think we've had a good panel discussion and we've tried to cover as much as possible.
Any questions? Anyone from the audience who would like to raise hands and talk for a few minutes? We can just allow that for the next 5 minutes. Anyone from the audience? I can see Dr. Diwatiya sir, Dr. Sunil Sethi. Are you still around?
There is a can authorities make compulsory. Dr. Mohan Pathak has asked can
Dr. Sunil
authorities.
Sethi is here. Yes, Sethi sir.
Yeah. Good evening. It's nice to see all the leading practitioners and to learn about their experiences. It's very encouraging. And please don't get discouraged with the low attendance, because practitioners don't see anything. They just need money and they are keep on working. And everybody has his own story. And from the last few webinars, I congratulate Dr. Pankaj, Dr. Diwatiya sir, Dr. Bajwa for giving this platform for
Dr.
PPF.
Pankaj and also still keep going with.
Yeah,
so
everybody is trying their best to improve the visibility of practice. And the only thing is, once we have the smoke has started coming out from PPF, so the visibility will increase gradually. And like we had West Zone, then South Zone, now today East Zone. Once we cover all these, then we will be able to improve our visibility. And
I'll also, there was some goof up with the slide sharing in between.
Just 15 seconds, madam. Thank you, Dr. Murtha. I will tell that you have to improvise yourself if you want to sustain your practice. Initially, I also started with popularizing epidural in liver anesthesia. Then I started ICU, my own ICU. Then I had my own advanced cardiac life care ambulance. So you have to keep with pace with the time on. If you are not learning, recently we bought, long back we had purchased nerve stimulator, then I bought fiber optic intubating, fiber optic bronchoscope. Then we have recently purchased ultrasound. So in our spectrum, we have everything. We are jack of all. So I motivate all the practitioners to please update yourself and learn how to improvise yourself with time. That's what I want to say. Thanks to all the participants for being here and guiding us. Thank you very much.
Dr. Ravindra Bhaskar.
Thank you, sir.
Ravindra Bhaskar, would you like to speak? Is our GC from the central zone? No. Okay, I feel you can have the vote of thanks then. Dr. Diwati sir is still around or he's left? Sir is left. No problem. Okay, you can have the vote of thanks and we can bind up then.
I think the first vote of thanks goes to the 60 or 70 people who have left their practice and come to attend this webinar and has given all the inputs, people who have given the inputs. So first vote of thanks goes to them. So instead of being sorry for 100 people who haven't joined, let's just thank those who have joined. And thanks, Dr. Pankaj, for having so much of it too, and to keep pushing us to at least do whatever we can in Eastern Zone and Northeastern Zone. Thank you, Irene, for taking so much of trouble and asking this thing. And thank you, all the speakers.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the opportunity. Really, we really have to thank Dr. Pankaj for giving us this opportunity, pulling each
to
other.
whatever level we have reached. Thanks to Dr.
To be able to be here today is like all because of him only.
Yeah, Dr.
Mohan Pathak. Yes, yes, his hands.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Sir, our administration can make it compulsory for MRI center to have MRI compatible boils machine, because that is the difficult place to give anesthesia. We practice in the era of trilene and galamine and ether and nitrous without a portable boils machine also. We have done the cases, but now
days are gone.
for such a costly investigation like MRI, but they don't give any facility except work in oxygen supply. That's all. Nothing they have got. So they actually, at least such a center should be made compulsory to have a boils machine and proper facility where the anesthetist alone is responsible for everything.
Yes, sir. What has happened, sir? NORA, non-operating room anesthesia. There have been a lot of cases where standalone MRI centers have had patients dying on during the procedure, and the ruling has gone against the anesthetist and against the MRI center. Now there is a ruling which says that if you should not have an MRI center or a CT scan without having an ICU backup, and in case you have a standalone center, in that case you should have a tie-up with a local ICU, meaning that you have an ambulance standing outside your MRI center. In case of a mishap, the patient should be easily transportable to the nearest ICU. So having this tie-up is at least become important from our point of view to medically protect ourselves. So if you don't do that, it can be very bad. And in private practice, you have to face the music all alone if you have a mishap during the MRI or the CT scan center. So it's very important to be very careful in today's practice as an anesthesiologist.
Yeah, and even in small nursing home, it's very difficult to convince surgeon to have a proper boils machine workstation, which is not very costly as compared to the other costs.
The dictum, sir, if you are working, having such surgeons, don't work with such surgeons who don't appreciate or understand the risk of anesthesia.
Surgeons, how much surgeons are spending on their instruments? It is not costly if you compare it with that. So if you can convince, if the surgeons are spending on themselves, patient safety also matters. Anyways,
I think, ma'am, unless the government take a stand on this, we are not going to be able to improve. Because now what happened is that after our PG, we are supposed to go to the periphery and work for some years there. There are lots of hospitals where we are posted. Like my first posting in anesthesia as an anesthesiologist was after my PG. And it was in a very, very remote place in Assam, beyond the Brahmaputra river, where there is no road. We have only the ferry. So I started the OT there. We started, it was like like a storehouse only. We clean out and we sterilize it, and then we manage the boils machine, instrument, everything. We set up the OT and then we started. But there was no blood bank. And then there is no night ferry is also not there. So only cases we could do was in daytime. But then what happened once we started the OT, day cases, when we started, the government started pressurizing us to do emergency case at night. And they came up and pressurized me and said that you will get incentive for doing emergency night calls. So that was a time I really had to take a stand. And then I quarreled with so many people, even the politician and all. So a time came that the government people, they restrict me so much that they didn't even give me leave also. I was not able to come back for weekends and all also. They make me stay over there. My leave was to be sanctioned from the central joint director office or something like that. So it was really a tough time, but then we refused. Actually, I refused. I said that there is no blood bank, and then there is no night ferry also. If we want to transfer, if something happened and we want to transport a patient to the other site where the facility and medical colleges are available, like it will take hours, 6 to 7 hours to just shift a case. So at night, even that facility is also not there. So like we have to wait for another 12 hours.
We are in metro. Hardly know the troubles these people are. They overcome.
Really?
Thank you, Dr. Pankaj. Just to
That
so
is
that
the
we
real
know
practice
this kind
you
of
have.
stories. Yeah, I know. Like Irene and all the stories to tell us is like horrifying. Thank you for at least sharing. So we know the amount of trouble.
That is why these webinars have kept it regional wise, so that you come to know what goes on. Like I can't imagine this was happening with Irene. So this is what the situation is so different in every city.
Unless we force the government to take proper steps in establishing all these hospitals, not just opening hospitals and not just opening OTs, but then giving manpower as well, and equipments and all the facilities like blood bank and ICU. ICU means HDU at least. They should be providing an HDU at least wherever there is an OT facilities. So they should we should be propagating all those things, I think. Then the government will be like taking action in that terms. Unless we do that, no other private nursing homes will adopt this thing, like having an ICU or something like
Dr. Pankaj and ISA needs to take into account all these.
This has to be taken forward.
For sharing all the stories, and thank you so much. Let's now wrap up, and it's just thanks to all to Amarta, to Shomik Nandi, to Dr. Shahu, Dr. Abid.
We'll
Sorry,
be meeting
Dr. Abid,
sometime
thank you
again.
so much.
Thank you, madam.
We'll be meeting
Without
sometime
Namrata,
again.
madam,
Pardon?
Thank you. Thank you.
Without Namrata, madam, my presentation would not have been possible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
You're most welcome,
Thank you,
and
madam.
I hope juniors have learned something about pain management. Dr. Krishna Poddar shared her beautiful journey, and Dr. Shovan Rath about the pain and how he managed. All these people have been very frank and about the challenges they faced and how to overcome them. So I hope the juniors have got something from the output. And let's now wrap up. And thank you so much. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Good night. Good night.